And in my classroom, I'm the guy saying, look at how good you are. Look at how awesome you are. Man, that's amazing. And to see those smiles and to see students saying, thank you, Mr. Matter, that's fantastic too. I love seeing that. I love seeing that they are part of something and they're proud of themselves. They're proud of what they're doing. After the performances that we do, they're proud. They're very proud of themselves.
You are listening to the Music and Peacebuilding Podcast, a professional development network at musicpeacebuilding.com, exploring intersections of peacebuilding, culture, sacredness, relationship, community, creativity, and imagination through research and story. James Mader is a nationally known clinician in world music and beyond. While at Lauderdale Lakes Middle School, James was selected as one of 20 music teachers to pilot Will Schmid's world music drumming curriculum. James currently teaches at the Parkway Middle School of the Arts, where he is committed to developing the musical and social capacities of students and exposing students to a diversity of cultures. He describes the importance of building life skills within at-risk populations and has explored the power of the world music drumming curriculum in meeting diverse needs of school populations. His performances and mentorship are well known within the world music drumming community. So my first question, tell me the story about how you first came into contact with Will Schmid and what it was like to be pioneering a curriculum that has had such a huge impact on music education.
Let's see. Let's go to I'll answer the first part about meeting Will Schmid for the first time. Will Schmid he's this big German baritone bass voice and just a big teddy bear. And upon my first meeting of him, I said, Dr. Schmid, it's very nice to meet you. He pushed my hand aside. James, give me a big hug. And gave me a hug. And that's pretty much what this curriculum is all about, is just embracing each other and no matter who you are, if you're a music teacher learning from a music teacher, if you're a student learning from a teacher, you're developing a rapport. Will Schmid was best known for his guitar methods and Get America Singing Again when he was MENC president. This is the World Music Drumming curriculum was something that he wanted to do because he noticed that elementary school, everybody learns music. In the middle school, we have general music, we have band and chorus and sometimes orchestra. But we start seeing students fall away as we get to high school, where the band, orchestra, chorus, you have the general music classes, but not many students are doing anything. And a lot of general music classes at that time, and I was one of them, I was a band director who did general music, we do a lot of worksheets and a lot of videos, a lot of music theory, and the students really aren't captivated by that. So Will Schmid wanted to develop a curriculum, the World Music Drumming curriculum, to reach every child in the middle school. It was specifically designed for the middle school general music classroom. However, we have found that it goes into the elementary. I have heard elementary music teachers using it as early as kindergarten. The entire curriculum, which is amazing, and then and high school music teachers as well. The interesting part about it, back in 1997 is when I joined on. He had done it with 5 music teachers in Milwaukee area schools. And so he expanded it to 20 of us from the United States and Canada. And we had no idea about drumming. We had no idea about this whole thing of opening up to other cultures, and opening up and trying to understand how to teach other cultures. This whole idea of drumming and getting the idea of understanding that these drums are melodic instruments in the African culture, and getting to understand that was, for some of us, difficult. The ensembles, the units of study, learning that and learning how to facilitate that in the classroom was very difficult and challenging, even for those of us, who were percussion I'm a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was difficult because you had to do this all by rote. It's rote teaching because that's how they do it in West Africa. Soa Mensa, that was my first meeting of Soa Mensa as well.
Right.
And meeting him for the first time, the first evening, everybody's doing drumming, and going around. We're doing the question answer and whatnot, and group drumming, and so I played percussion, so I'm sitting there doing all these cool tones and everything. So I go up to meet him afterwards, and I said, "Hi, so Mensa, I'm James Mader," and he grabs my hand and he goes, "You have sweet hands." I was like, "Wow, my," and he goes, "You play very well." And I said, "Well, yeah, I play gigs in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach area." He goes, "Yeah, you play really well." And I was like, "Thanks." And then he takes his finger and he puts it in my chest and he goes, "You're going to have a lot of problems this week." And it was true. And the reason why is because we had to learn how to trust everyone next to us. In the drumming ensembles, it's not how well you play, it's how well you play for the group. It's how well you blend in with others. It's how well you. So I had to learn all that.
James spoke of the unique place of world music drumming within middle school and upper elementary curricula. This curriculum, he notes, can empower diverse populations who are not enrolled in band or choir with a sense of agency and accomplishment. A drumming curriculum, rooted in the heritage of West African traditions, builds bridges to diverse student cultures and identities. Drumming builds capacity and musical identity through a different sense of what it means to be a musician.
But they can assimilate into this because a lot of it is I do, you do. I show you, they show you. So Unit 3 is then we go from Liberia and learn an important lesson about Liberia from Unit 2, Take Time in Life, a traditional Liberian folk song. And then we go to Unit 3 and we learn about high life music. And we learn about how West African high life music, with two songs, Everybody Loves Saturday Night and Banua. Now, if you notice, I haven't been talking about the ensembles. I talk about the songs and I talk about the unit of study because it's not Ensemble 3. It's Unit 3. And in this unit, you might, if you have students who are of challenge, mental or physical challenges, you might never play all of the parts. But they can still understand and they can still play maybe one part, or maybe you play the timeline. They'll never play the timeline. And they can play the drum parts and sing the song. And then so Unit 3, we move on to this whole timeline and this 3/2 clave that is found in the Caribbean. So where did high life music come from? Well, high life music came from after World War II. And high life music comes from the mixtures of the cultures, and that we see this mixture of culture in the Caribbean. And my students and people, and some of the people who come to my concerts, the grandparents, are so happy to see that we're performing Water Come On Me Eye, a traditional song from Trinidad that they learned at home. It's part of their culture. And they're so happy to see their grandchildren in America learning these songs. They never would have thought that they would learn that in another country.
Wow.
So that's really powerful. So, and we learn about feel, we learn about all these things. And then, when we go to Unit 5, we're talking about feel. How do you feel this? Why is it a 2-beat? Why is this thing that is, well, the students never see the written out score, but why is this thing that we can count out in 4? Why do we call it 2-beat? So we talk about field. We go to West Africa. We talk about in Unit 5. We talk about the Ghanaian 3-against-2 patterns. The bam ticka bam bam ticka down down three. The 3-against-2, and you learn about their timeline, their rhythmic scale. Gong gang 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 gong gang 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 gong. That is right there. You got do re mi fa sol la ti do re mi fa, and if they start that timeline at different places, you have your different mode. With talking about basically the African diaspora and the importance of Psalm 137, waters of Babylon, rivers of Babylon, of why that's so important to the African American culture. Um, and it's basically a reggae. And so it's a fun groove. I'm teaching it right now. We're in our last weeks of school, so we finally got to Unit 7. It's nice because they're like, wow, why did you wait so long to teach us this groove? And you know what? I don't think they would have performed it as well if I had introduced it to them at the beginning, because now they have the techniques. Now they have an understanding and a more respect for the cultures and for the drumming itself, and it just sounds a lot better. One thing I love about this curriculum is that, and if you notice, I went through the units of study and basically went through what they do and what they teach our students. But if you look at the units of study, it's nice because inside it says, hey, go listen to this song. Hey, go listen to this music. Have your students listen to this. You as an educator, you should go listen to this music. I put in along the way music of Cuba, music of Brazil, music of, the music of Cuba is hand and stick drumming. Then the music of Brazil is stick drumming with calls and responses. So then that is brought in. They can see how the African peoples moved that into our traditional drumline kind of thing, and they can see the movement. And this is all done by general music students. Daga, daga, do, da boom, boom, da boom. Okay, boom, da, dogo, ba, bogo. That 2-beat feel. So you can find that we have a Cuban song in there, Mateadora. We also have Water Come on Me Eye. The whole idea, Water Come on Me Eye, I'll never forget, I started singing it one time at a workshop, and one of the participants, was very, very upset. And this has to do with how this curriculum changes you as a teacher, a music educator.
Mm-hmm.
They were upset because I was not singing it in the key of that is in the curriculum guide. I had to remind them that we put it in this key because we had to put it in some key. But if you have ever listened to a Jamaican or Trinidad or a Trini sing this song, when you say, if I walk up to my one of our custodial staff is from Jamaica, and he has this beautiful, beautiful deep voice, and I said, hey, Water Come on Me Eye? And he goes, Water Come on Me Eye. Yeah, man. And he starts singing it. He didn't ask me what key. He didn't take out a pitch pipe. And he just started singing. And he sang a rhythm that was completely different than the rhythm that's in this book. But it was the song. So you have to, when I start singing it, every time I remember Liza, water come on me eye. And so sometimes when I sing it, every time I remember Liza, that's not exactly what's written in the book. But the students get it. The students understand the idea, and you as a music teacher have to be respectful. Are you gonna take that? Are you gonna take this culture and this traditional song from Trinidad, from Jamaica, And are you going to then start singing it every time I remember Liza, water comes to my eyes? What a terrible thing to do. Oh my gosh. What a terrible, can you imagine? And
Hmm.
so we have to remember that if you're going to perform this music of other cultures, you got to be mindful of that culture. But I just remind them at the beginning of the year, it's going to be a study. We're going to study this. And the thing I like about it as well is, taking is the whole performance aspect. At no time does it say about performance. And, each class period is a study. So you don't learn the entire ensemble for that unit that you're studying until the end of the unit. You have to go through this stuff, and the students don't mind it because they're used to that. They don't learn, everything there is to know about, a third grader. You can't start third graders with algebra. You have to take them through this, and they have to understand that this is a study. So this first, getting them to understand beat and getting them to understand the feel of music, boom to boom, dagga dagga da da, that might take a few class periods, and they don't mind it. They love it because you move around the classroom and everybody takes different parts and sees things from a different perspective. Being able to move around the classroom and play a different part and have a different perspective about playing that part in the ensemble is magical as well. The students really they take to that, and it's a great musical lesson as well.
So tell me about what you've been thinking about with student life skills and how the world music drumming curriculum is so powerful for working on the things beyond musical performance.
Oh, well, it is beyond for me specifically in my classroom. Um, that's what this is. This curriculum is not necessarily about performance. We do performances, but it is about social emotional learning through project based learning. It's developing social and emotional learning through project based learning, through the keywords like respect. We start the first thing: respect for the instruments, respect for each other, respect for the culture,
Mm-hmm.
respect for community. Another key word is focus, balance. Balance not just in music, but in your life. You got to have, and I explain to the students, you got to have good, you got to have yin yang, man. You got to have you don't realize how good the sun is until you don't have it. It's a rainy day. Uh, Teamwork. Oh my goodness. Cooperation. Some of the other keywords: ensemble, understanding what an ensemble is, understanding that you are part of something. One of the things I have in my room hanging up is: you are not you. You are we. You are us. We are you.
Mm.
Getting them to understand that they're part of, that they're significant, even if you're just playing the cowbell or if you're playing the gankogui, you are just as important as the 10 guys playing drums or 15 girls playing the medium drum part. It's Everybody's important and everybody's significant. The students also, what I love about this curriculum, and it opens their minds to learning, to wanting to learn. They want to become a student. They go home and they're like, and you give them a challenge. Hey, can you play that part? Okay, well, we'll work. If you can't play that part, we'll work on it next time. And they'll come to
Mm-hmm.
the next class period. Hey, Mr. Matter, I've been working on that part. And I was like, hey, you know what you just did? And they're like, what? And I said, homework. You did homework. You learned it. And they're like, ah. So now they start seeing that learning is a positive thing. That learning for the thirst to learn is more important. Wanting to learn is more important than being told you must learn. And they take these skills of focus and knowing where the learning and teaching is taking place into their other courses. What I have found is that students want to do well on a part, not for themselves, but for the ensemble. They want to play their part well because they want the ensemble to sound good, not because they want to sound good. So that's, how do you teach that?
How has this curriculum changed you?
It's changed me because how do you play this music and wear a tie?
Yeah.
Number two, um, it's taught me to be more sympathetic, more empathetic towards my students from where they're from, to their learning styles. It has also taught me. It has changed how I perceive other cultures. How I, someone once told me that they didn't like the word tolerance. Teaching tolerance.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think about it, that's kind of negative. I tolerate you. Can you imagine if somebody said that to you?
It's a very low bar.
I really tolerate you. That's like,
Mm-hmm.
wow. It has taught me acceptance, to accept people. I just want you to come in here and be part of us and be part of who we are. It has taught me, and that was probably always part of who I am. I was always kind of accepting of other people and other cultures, but this world music drumming curriculum really, I like seeing the students that people have given up on, seeing them rise, seeing them on stage, them playing improvisations, them working and their music. I love it when they're on stage and I'm not, when I'm performing, when they're performing. And, these are elementary kids. I teach third through eighth grade. We have a cluster of third through fifth graders on our campus. And it's amazing to see what they can do with this curriculum. So that it's changed me in that way. It's changed me in that to really fulfill the concept of, if you're a teacher, you're always a student. And I've known Soul Mensa for over 20 years now, but I've only studied with him for half a year, because 20 years is just 20 weeks. I haven't even studied with him for an entire year yet, and I still know so little, and that's amazing. And I love that. I love the fact that I don't know, and that I want to constantly learn, and I learn from my students, and my students teach me. My students teach me about their cultures, about the Haitian culture, the Dominican culture. And, these are all so many different mixtures of cultures within that culture. So it's just fascinating to learn all of that, and to be, it's a ride I never thought that I'm so thankful for Will Schmid, that I was selected and was a part of it,
Mm-hmm.
Because I couldn't imagine him in my wildest dreams about doing this. I will always do this. I will always want to do this, and I can see doing this this is my 29th year teaching. I can see myself going for another 10 years.
James Mader spoke of the importance of continuously learning music from the perspective of a studied culture. Encountering music of the other involves deep thinking about musical biases and modes of learning that we often take for granted. Music of African diasporas challenge many of our notions about what it means to be a musician, what it means to study music, and how we should do music. You have to fully embed yourself within the culture to do it authentically in many ways.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that, my friend, is also being that kind of person that social emotional learning teaches.
Yes.
That's being that kind of person. And I'm not trying to say that you're going to then walk out of this. Like I heard a story about one time somebody went to study for a couple months in West Africa, and now they come back and they say that they're a master drummer. Whoa, that's a bad idea, man. And then number two, you can't say that you're African. You gotta be constantly respectful. And Lord knows I'm the lightest skinned person in the classroom, most oftentimes in my classroom, and I'm teaching this culture, and I'm teaching culture aspects. It's really important that I remain true, that I am factual, and I am truly objective and real in how I teach. If you noticed, I've always ended our emails with love and peace.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell the students every single day at the end of the class, walk out slowly. Remember, teachers love you. Be nice to them. And that's my way of saying that I love them, and they know that. That's true and genuine. They need to hear that more often, I believe.
Beginning with 45 attendees in 1997, the world music drumming curriculum is now found in 20,000 classrooms and summer workshops from California to Spain. I am inspired by the work of James Mader and so many music teachers who seek to integrate new forms of music, building connections and empowering new voices in circular musical practice. Music education is strengthened as we embrace the fullness of diverse ways of doing music. Our education in diverse musics educates us in the richness of diverse and beautiful ways of being human. Special thanks to Mr. James Mader and the students at Parkway Middle School for recordings of their performances that were used in this broadcast. This is the Music and Peace Building Podcast, hosted by Kevin Schwerner-Johnson. At Elizabethtown College, we host a Master of Music Education with an emphasis in peace building. Thinking deeply, we reclaim space for connection and care. Join us at musicpeacebuilding.com.